Hi everyone, I'm here in my kitchen garden and we're at the end of August, about August the 26th today, and it's time to begin harvesting some of my potatoes. So I want to show you what to look out for the signs of recognizing when your potatoes are ready for harvest, and then how to harvest them. So first thing I want to start with is potatoes. When you plant them, there is a misconception as terms of how deeply they will grow. So if you plant them in, like, let's say a rain barrel or something really long, they're not going to produce potatoes all the way down that barrel or whatever depth it is that you're growing. Potatoes only really grow in the first 6 inches from the base, like along basically the roots under the soil, the 6 inches there underneath the soil. That's where the potatoes develop. They don't develop any lower than that. So you don't need to have the deepest container. You just need to make sure that 6 inches has enough coverage so that when potatoes start filling up that space, they're not going to be exposed to sunlight. They're going to be covered. And if they're exposed to sunlight, they become toxic, they turn green. So you don't want that. You want to make sure that you have enough space. So planting them in a container, raised bed, or in the ground, as long as they're at least, let's say, 8 inches depth, you'll be okay. Now my raised beds are about 12 inches tall, and I plant my potatoes at the very bottom. I make a really deep, I dibble a deep hole, and I put the potato at the very bottom of that hole. So my potatoes have about 10 inches, let's say, of soil above them to grow, and I never top up the soil with additional soil. I don't hill them up because I know that they only grow within that 6 inches of space, and it's worked really well for me. I have topped them with hay in the past, so that is an option in case you feel like you don't have enough soil, but that does work really well, just ensuring that you have a deep enough hole to plant them in. Now the reason I do that is because I don't dig my soil. I just try to disturb it as little as possible. So by making a deep dibble hole, I use I have a dibber, which is basically it's a broken fork that I have, a garden fork, so I just use that big long stick part of it, and that's how I make my holes. Anyway, I find that works really well. I don't disturb the soil. The potatoes grow within that space, and then they're very easy to harvest. All I do is just basically pull up the plant, and then also just like fork around the area of each, the base of each plant in case I lose any potatoes, and often they fall off of the roots. So I get to catch them that way. So I'm gonna flip the camera with that information in hand. I'm gonna flip the camera and show you how I harvest my potatoes. So here we are in my one of my raised potato beds. As you can see, it's right here. And the leaves have started dying back, and they are not quite yellow yet, but they're starting to yellow. You can see they're dying. They're no longer flush, they're no longer green and upright and blooming well. They're kind of yellowing, and this shows that the potatoes are ready. Not only that, I've had a bit of a potato bug problem this year, and I'll show you an example. Let's see. Do you see that? Right there? That's the larva of a Colorado potato beetle, and they're disgusting. So they have annihilated my potatoes. So all the black that you see, all that's because of them. So they've been a bit of a menace, but luckily I started harvesting potatoes and I saw that there are potatoes that are ready. So to give you an example, here is some really nice potatoes that I've already harvested from here, and you can see that they're a good size. So even though the Colorado potato beetles have been really awful in this bed, we've still managed to get a harvest. So this is the first sign you look out for, is dying leaves. The stems are dying, they're dipping, you know, they're falling over, they're not growing anymore. This is the time. Plus we're coming towards the end of August, so another sign that it's a good time is the season. They've been in the ground long enough, so they're ready for harvest. Now I have a bit of a setup here. I'm going to show you what I have. Because I've got the larvae of the potato bugs, I need to pick them off. I pick them off because I don't want to brush up against them, and I also don't want the potato beetles surviving in my compost. So I have this system here. I've got the soapy water. You can actually see some of them floating around in there. Then I've got the bucket with my compost. This will be going to my compost bins. This is the leaves. And then in this bucket, I've got my potatoes that I've started harvesting. So here we go. Here's the base. I've already pulled one out here. And here's the base. So you go to the base, and the potatoes should be right here. Now I can feel them. And I can see that they're sticking out a little bit. Like here's an example of one that's a bit out of the ground. You don't really want that. So if you're finding that you don't have enough soil, definitely top it up. Now this bed, the soil since last year has dropped a couple of inches, maybe 3 inches, so I could have topped it up if I wanted to, but I figured it'll be okay. But look at the potatoes, there they are. They're just waiting to be harvested. So I'm just gonna, these you can just twist off. And you can see that they're a really good size already. There's more right there. So typically they grow, or the rule is, they only grow along that stem. So here we go, I'm gonna pull this one out. Look at that. So if this was, there was no reason for me to hill or make a deeper hole, because as you can see, potatoes that I'm harvesting are looking great. I'm just gonna look over this, the foliage, and see if I see any larvae, and I don't. So I have been picking them up already. I'm just gonna stick them in my compost bucket. This will go to my compost bin. This is a great green material that I will add into my compost, and I will carry on. Okay, so that's been cleared. Now, if you're not sure if you've got all of your potatoes, of course, overhead airplane. He just passed before I started filming. It's back again. I hope you can hear me. Anyway, take your fork, and there you go. So the 6 inches below the soil is where they're gonna be. Now I have harvested a few here yesterday, so this patch is probably empty, but I'm feeling something. Hope that plane doesn't return for a third time. It's like he's doing it on purpose. Okay, so just gonna dig here. I'm gonna pull this one up. Oh, look at that guy. That's the one that was already sticking out. So here, there's a little bit of green. So this is what happens when it's exposed to the sun. So when I use this, I'll just cut that off. I'm not gonna scrap the whole potato. Some people say don't use the potato because it's green, so it's toxic. This is the only section here that's not good. The rest of the potato is perfectly healthy. So I'm just gonna cut that tip off there and it'll be just fine. Okay, here we go. So this one has nothing because I already took off the top. So I'm gonna put this in the compost bucket again. Ew, so see? Gotta show this to you. This is so nasty. That's the varmint right there. Bye. Right in the bin. Okay, so take my fork and just a second here. Take my fork and just start lifting a little bit. See if I've missed anybody. Now, if you want to get potatoes next year without doing any work and you come across these babies, you can leave them in the soil and then you will get potatoes next year. Believe it or not, they will come back if you leave the tiniest little speck. Very easy to miss. I'm going to compost that one because I don't want to have potatoes in this bed next year because really this is not, I'm trying to rotate. Okay, so I'm going to collect these potatoes, put them in my bucket, try to be gentle when I put them in. So I don't want to bruise them too much. It's not bad. That's from a plant. That's not bad. I haven't finished here, but this one's attached to a different one. Take that off. And I don't remember the name. I think this is, maybe it's candy cane. I have a tag in here somewhere, but by the time I get to it, this video will be done. Okay. There's another one. So this plant here, as you can see, you don't have to dig very deep to get the potatoes. They're literally under the soil. I'm going to pull this one gently if I can. So nothing on there. The leaves, I don't see any potato beetles. Disgusting. And we'll carry on. So I'm just going to take my fork. See, if you go deep, they're not in there. They're only at the top because they don't have a taproot. They don't go down into the soil and, you know, climb down to China. They're not doing that. They are just staying underneath the soil, 6 inches. That's it. Save yourself a lot of time when you just, when you don't spend too much time digging. Now I'm digging here more than I would like, but it is my potato bed, so I try not to make too much of a disaster in here because I try not to dig too much. I don't want to disturb the soil too much, but that's basically it. So there you go. So this will be added to my bucket. And this is 2 plants. Fairly decently sized potatoes. Like, that's pretty good. I'm pleased. with this size. Look at this one here. It's pretty good. Clean too, no scabbing, no nothing. Ready to eat, absolutely tasty. Boil them up, bring them home, cook them up right away, and there's nothing better than a fresh picked garden potato. It's like nothing at any farmer's market, nothing like in any grocery store. Grow it yourself. So that's it. That's how you harvest potatoes. Those are the signs to look out for. You want to look for leaves and branches and stems that are starting to yellow, starting to die back. When the leaves and the stems are no longer upright, when they're starting to lean this way, you know that the plants are not really growing anymore. You're coming towards the end of summer, the end of August, that's another good time. If you've grown early season or mid-season or even late season, you could probably start digging them up and to see if they're done, if they're ready. If the leaves are still upright and green and lush and they look great, keep them in the ground longer if you don't need them right away. But if they are starting to yellow and leaning down, they're ready for harvest. So hopefully that helped everyone. Hopefully my video has given you some information about harvesting potatoes, how to harvest potatoes, and the signs to look out for to see that when they are ready. If you like my video, please give me a like, a thumbs up so I know that you watched and you liked the video. And if you have any ideas or anything you'd like answered, please leave me a comment below and let me know, and I'll do my best to answer those questions in a future video. And also please subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell to be notified of any upcoming videos. I look forward to speaking to you all really soon. I hope you're all doing really well and having great gardens, and I wish you guys all the best. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.